So I am aware that this review is a smidgen late, but I did see the new Kingsman movie, and so I didn't see the first Kingsman movie in theaters. So going into the second one, I was really excited because I knew I was going to see this one in theaters because I loved the first one. I thought it was great, and then once the reviews started coming out, I was worried because I kept hearing it falls under the category of just an action movie sequel where it bites off more than it can chew. And does Kingsman 2 do that? Yes. But the things that those reviews were saying was that like it's boring and it's not good, and that's where I was like, well, that's wrong because it is good. So basically Kingsman 2 picks up about a year after the first Kingsman movie, and basically Kingsman has rebuilt itself. They're still, being known as the Taylors in England, but they're still fighting crime and stuff. And so then one day, Julianne Moore's character named Poppy, she's the bad guy of the film, and so she basically decides she's gonna wipe out the Kingsmen because she knows that they will affect her drug trade, illegal drug trade. She's basically putting like a disease into every known drug that people take, and so she basically wipes out the Kingsmen, and so she accidentally leaves Mark Strong's character Merlin and Taron Egerton. I think that's how you say it, Taron Egerton's. I think that's his name. But his character alive, and so they have to go to the U.S. and team up with their cousins from the South, the Statesmen. The main statesman in the movie is Jeff Bridges' character, Channing Tatum's character, Pedro Pascal's character, and Halle Berry's character. They're very southern and stuff, so they do give off the accents. And I was really worried at first because I was like, oh, well, is this going to be a good mix? Because, you're having very fancy British tailors with rich accents mixing with very southern cowboys. And at first I was worried, but then once I started seeing the trailers, I was like, okay, this is going to work. And it did. It really did work. And I'm excited to see what they're going to do in the third one because they did say they want to have more statesmen in the third movie to work with Kingsman. And so it was really cool because I was worried, I'm going to be completely honest. And so it was very satisfying to see that it worked because it could have gone horribly wrong. All the characters were great, I'd say, in this movie. Julianne Moore's character, I'd say the one downside about her is that, I don't feel like she was developed enough, but the one upside is that you see where she's coming from, why she's doing what she's doing. And the same thing goes for another bad guy. You see why they decide to do what they do, and it makes sense, and there's part of you that's like, well, I get why you're doing it, then the other part's like, no, you're just crazy. And so I'd say that's one of the downsides is for some of the characters in this movie, they're not developed enough, especially Channing Tatum's character. And I'm not going to spoil why I was disappointed with this character, but basically, I'm just going to say he was used for marketing. There were more characters in this movie that got way more screen time that weren't listed as main characters, but yet Channing Tatum was. And I don't really want to say, why they chose to do what they did with his character, but it was just a little strange that they marketed him and they showed him in all the trailers and they're like, oh no, Channing Tatum's a main character in this movie, when really he's not. Pedro Pascal's character, Agent Whiskey, he's in more than half of the movie, and yet he wasn't even listed as a main guy in any of the trailers, but yet Channing Tatum was. So that was a little strange. I don't know, it kind of bothered me. From a visual standpoint, this movie's beautiful. It's a really well shot movie, and I can't wait to watch it again, especially on Blu-ray, because you can literally just look at all the scenes and pinpoint what they want to stand out. Because in the theater, you're not really paying attention to what's going on, you're just watching the movie. But when you watch it again, you really get to see what they wanted the viewers to notice when they buy it on Blu-ray, and so I'm really excited to see that because it is a really good looking movie. I will say the one thing though with the visual standpoint is that, remember that fight scene from the first Kingsman movie in the church? Well, all those camera moves to make it look like it's one long giant take, when really 95% of it is all just CGI to make it look like one long take. That's every single fight scene in this movie. And it kind of got annoying at some points because the movie literally starts off with a fight scene. I'm not even kidding. The first minute into a movie, they're already in a fight scene. And so it was a 5-minute long fight scene. And that was the whole thing, the camera just going all around, the streets of London when they're in a car or whatever. And it was kind of crazy because I was like, oh my God, I can't really tell what's going on, but it's so cool to look at. Especially in the last fight scene, it's really hard to tell what's going on. But at the same time, it looks super cool. And I like the music that played to every single fight scene. One more downside before I wrap this up is that with a movie like this, there are going to be some deaths in it. And one of the deaths towards the beginning, I was just like, that wasn't really necessary. And when I was walking out of the theater with my friend, he goes, I feel like they killed off that character so they could just basically get a clean start without having to finish up that story arc, because there was so much more they wanted to do. Because this is like a 2 hour and a half, like it's 2 hours and a half. And so, I mean, they could have taken like 5 minutes just to wrap that character arc up, but they really didn't. And they just killed him off. And my friend was like, yeah, it was kind of cheap because, you know, that was a character they spent, you know, building up in the first movie. And for them to kill them off, like, in this, just like, it didn't really make any sense. And I agree with him on that, because that character, I mean, I would have liked to see where they would have gone in the next couple Kingsman movies they want to have, but now we can't because they're dead. Unless they're going to pull, you know, a Colin Firth and be like, oh, nope, they're still alive. You just didn't see them die. I don't know. I think that character is dead. I don't really see why they want to bring him back again, because that'll just be kind of cheap as well. But I don't know. That was a little disappointing. Overall, if you like the first Kingsman, you're going to enjoy this one. I'd say go see it if you like the first Kingsman. If the first Kingsman wasn't, you know, your taste, don't go see this one, because you're not going to like it. In fact, you'll probably hate it even more. But yeah, I give Kingsman: The Golden Circle a 7 out of 10. I think it's worth the watch if you like the first Kingsman movie. If you didn't, don't waste your time. Go see Blade Runner 2049. Thank you all so much for listening. If you've liked what you listened to on here and you want to listen to more, go like, comment, and subscribe. That would be really helpful, and I would really appreciate it. The links to all of my social medias are listed down below in the description. Other than that, this has been A Talk in Depth.